The skinflint general who'd been docking my pay every day returned from bandit suppression with amnesia. Seizing the chance while he didn't remember our feud, I sneaked into his chamber at night to find my indenture contract, only to be grabbed in his arms. "So you're the little wife I've been pampering in my manor." I dared not deny it, fearing he'd turn me over to the authorities. From then on, the general's mansion gained a wife who was showered with boundless favor. When his white moonlight appeared and pointed at me with curses, he slapped her across the face. I hurriedly grabbed his hand. "But this was once the love of your heart." Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now the story begins. Ji Shiyang was only 14 when he achieved illustrious military feats and was infeft as the general who pacifies the barbarians. I had some minor grudges with him when we were young, to be honest. It was my fault for being too greedy with food. Back then, my family was ruined, and I traveled thousands of miles to the capital to study, only to be swindled out of all my money. The dean took pity on me and allowed me to audit classes in exchange for cleaning the academy. Coincidentally, the emperor had sent Ji Shiyang, who carried the aura of frontier battles, to study at the academy. He fell in love at first sight with Chi Yun, the second daughter of the Minister of Personnel. The young man's heart first learned the stirrings of love. In his crooked handwriting, he wrote, "The young lady is as beautiful as a celestial maiden, and Ji is utterly smitten. What a pity." Chi Yun and her companions disdainfully tossed the exquisite pastries at my feet. "Consider it your reward." Chi Yun took out a handkerchief to wipe her hands, as if the box contained something filthy. One of the young ladies nearby pointed at the box and asked, "Ayun, is this from Ji Shiyang?" Chi Yun nodded and threw the handkerchief to the ground. "That Ji Shiyang, a brute raised in the borderlands since childhood, can't even read a single word. Does he think military achievements alone can propel him to great heights? Ridiculous. The days of fighting and killing are long gone. A brute like him is ultimately unworthy of me." The companion beside chimed in, "True, Ji Xian's dark and rough complexion really doesn't match the top talented lady of Shangjing." The young ladies giggled and walked away. That love letter tucked with sweet cakes was thus tossed to the ground by my feet. I recognized the sweet cakes in the box. Ju Ji's. That's hard to come by. I've never tried it before. Just then, my stomach growled, having eaten nothing this morning. I found myself eyeing the pastry with longing. After all, it was something Chi Yun didn't want. She definitely wouldn't make me pay for it. I sat in the pavilion, legs crossed, leisurely eating pastries. The #1 sweet pastry in Shangjing truly lives up to its reputation. I only noticed the note inside the box after finishing the meal. At first, I thought it was just wrapping paper. After all, this single box cost 10 taels of silver, more than I could earn in a whole year. When I unfolded it, I found it was actually a young man's secret confession. Just as I was about to wipe my mouth, clap my hands, and leave, I ran into Ji Shiyang, who had come looking for Chi Yun. He stared in disbelief at the empty box, then raised his eyes to the note in my hand. "You wretched servant, how dare you touch my things with such disrespect?" No sooner had the words left his mouth than Ji Xian's sword was at my throat. In a panic, I threw away the note, and he caught it. "You actually stole the gift I gave to Miss Chi." Not wanting to argue with this reckless man, I quickly explained, "Miss Chi didn't want it." Ji Xiang didn't believe me. Sure enough, warriors have simple minds. How could something you personally gave to Miss Chi end up in the hands of a mere maid like me for no reason? Only then did Ji Xiang angrily sheath his sword and leave. I thought the matter was over. Who would have thought that the next day, Ji Xiang stopped me again. "Be my messenger to Miss Chi, and I'll pay you silver." Hearing there was money to be made, I immediately agreed. For 7 consecutive days, Ji Xiang persistently sent all sorts of peculiar little trinkets to Chi Yun. But without exception, all were thrown out of the mansion by Chi Yun. "Go back and tell your master that if I am to marry, it shall be to a talented scholar from the capital." How could a lowly martial artist with no family background ever be worthy of someone from a scholarly family like me? Tell him not to waste his efforts. I must have read too many romantic novels. Growing soft-hearted, I couldn't bear to see the young man's burning love go to waste. Afraid his love might turn to hatred and lead him down a dark path, as if possessed, I actually picked up my brush to reply, wishing him future triumphs on the battlefield and blessings for the people. When handing the letter to him, the light in Ji Xian's eyes was exactly the same as when I first arrived in the capital. It was hope. Ji Xiang held the letter, looking at it again and again. "Is this really Miss Chi's reply?" I guiltily touched my nose. "Why yes, is there a problem?" Ji Xiang shook his head. "Miss Chi's calligraphy is exceptionally fine. I instinctively smiled and planted my hands on my hips. Naturally, my calligraphy skills were personally taught by the academy head. A month later, Ji Xiang showed no signs of repentance. Instead, he fell even deeper in love with Qi Yun. He would murmur all day long, "Miss Qi praised my progress again today," yet the letters I wrote urged him to serve the court and think less of romantic entanglements. As fate would have it, Qi Yun became engaged to the Prime Minister's son. Upon hearing the news, Ji Xiang immediately pinned me against the wall. "Didn't you say Miss Qi and I were mutually in love? Then why has she become engaged to someone else? Were you lying to me all along?" Tears glistened in Ji Xian's eyes. I sighed. After all, he was just a young man from the borderlands who had never been hardened by society's harsh lessons. I patted his shoulder. "The truth is, she never loved you. She threw away the jade pendant on the very first day. I picked it up and kept it for you because it looked expensive." Ji Xiang stared silently at the box of items I had brought out, lowering his head without a word. "So it was you who wrote the letters all along." I didn't dare look at him, afraid he'd make trouble. Yet Ji Xiang wordlessly picked up the box and left. That dejected figure, tsk, like a love-struck youth drowning in heartbreak. I saw Ji Xiang again 3 days later when he brought the academy headmaster to find me while I was sweeping the grounds. Pointing at me, Ji Xiang declared, "This is the maidservant who swindled money from me." I had been mistaken. Ji Xiang might have lacked practical experience, but he'd studied as many military strategy books as I'd read Confucian classics. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He holds grudges like no other. I thought he was just a reckless brute who wouldn't bother with revenge. Never expected him to settle scores after the harvest. Payback comes when you least expect it. To avoid Ji Xiang causing trouble for the academy and its headmaster, I returned to his residence with him. Ji Xiang demanded I atone for my sins, forcing me to sign a contract of servitude. "From now on, you are my maidservant." Ji Xiang carefully stored away the signed contract. "From now on, you'll answer only to me, clean the study daily." The general's library held countless books, with good food and drink, plus the freedom to read. It was no worse than any academy. Only the general's wife, Madame Ji, seemed convinced I'd been personally brought back by Ji Xiang, a woman of ill intentions. Time and again, she came with the old matron to pick on me. "Madame Ji, this is the girl the young master brought back." The matron forced me to the ground, saying, "Just a lowly maid, yet you dare linger by Jia's side all day long." Madame Ji looked down on my humble origins, convinced there was something improper between me and Ji Xiang. Though I vehemently denied it, she still made me kneel for 3 hours without listening to my explanation. She kept me kneeling until I passed out. When I came to, my knees were red and swollen, and Dao Yarrow handed me a box of ointment. "The general left this for you before he departed," she said. According to her, Lady Ji had already returned to her hometown in Jiangnan. This departure lasted 3 years. Bandits in the mountains plundered the people's supplies. The emperor ordered Ji Xiang to suppress the bandits, and he was gone for half a year. "You missed my coming-of-age ceremony." When Ji Xiang returned from suppressing bandits, I spotted him from afar in the crowd. He had indeed grown more mature and steady. The emperor appointed him as cavalry general. He bestowed 10,000 taels of gold and 100 acres of fertile land. For these 3 years, Ji Xiang has been constantly deducting from my silver. My savings have dwindled to almost nothing, yet he grows richer by the day. Before leaving, Ji Xiang had warned me, "Xia Guisheng, don't even think about leaving the general's manor in this lifetime." I was humming a tune and carrying a fruit basket back to the manor when I heard that Ji Xiang was injured, and it was no minor wound. My heart skipped a beat. The general was struck in the head while suppressing bandits. After being unconscious for several days, he woke up with no memory of the past. Fortunately, General Song told him some things, otherwise we'd have no master left. After lunch, the thought of leaving crossed my mind. While Ji Xiang has lost his memory and doesn't remember our grudges, isn't this the perfect time to make a run for it? I packed my bags and hid them behind the screen while cleaning Ji Xian's room. First, I'll get my indenture contract back, then wait for nightfall when the moon is dark and the wind howls. Fleeing back to Jiangnan, even if Ji Xiang had all the power in the world, he wouldn't be able to fish me out. I searched every corner of the bedroom, but the deed was nowhere to be found. Exhausted from searching, I dozed off beside the bathtub. Around dusk, Ji Xiang in his silver armor pushed the door open and entered. The sound startled me awake from my sleep. In the candlelight, Ji Xian's figure was fully revealed. There were many scars around his waist, along with fresh wounds over his heart. All his fame and fortune were earned with his life. Ji Xiang had a pouch tied at his waist, one he'd forced me to embroider. I suspected the contract might be hidden inside that pouch. When Ji Xiang entered the bath, I stealthily took his belt. Sure enough, inside the pouch was a slip of paper resembling a letter. I secretly rejoiced in my heart, ready to take out the note, a damp arm wrapped around my waist. So you're the little wife I've been pampering in my mansion. When did Ji Xiang get up? I nodded nervously, not daring to deny it for fear he'd send me to the authorities. Anyone still in their room this late must either be the lady of the house or a thief. Why are you dressed so plainly? I rolled my eyes. It's because you've been skimping on my allowance, to make my escape easier. I once again didn't wear the maid's attire, otherwise I would have just claimed to be a maid. Why bother deceiving him again? Tomorrow I'll have several outfits custom made for the young mistress. The purse in my hand was suddenly snatched away by him. This is my beloved treasure, outsiders mustn't touch it. I tilted my head to look at the embroidered pouch. Beloved treasure. Ji Xiang rested his chin on my shoulder, his breath tickling my neck unbearably. But my little wife can. I turned around woodenly, feeling him press against the small of my back through his damp white undergarments. My face flushed crimson. Ji Xiang pulled me forcefully into his embrace. Tilting my face up until our eyes met, back in the military camp, Song Yi told me your mansion was pampering a treasure. Song Yi was his good brother. I'd heard of him. The man waved his large hand and pushed me into the pool, drenched from head to toe. My pink undergarments became faintly visible. My lady truly is a rare beauty in this world. Ji Xiang watched me with wolfish hunger in his prime years. My tearful eyes met his in the pool as I retreated half a step. Ji Xiang leaped into the water and lifted me by the waist. Is my little wife mute? Even so, I'd still claim her. I replied with trembling fear, I'm not. I was caught red-handed and dared not speak, afraid he'd grow suspicious. If I angered Ji Xiang, forget about retrieving my indenture contract. I might even end up in prison. Ji Xiang roughly pressed me against the edge of the pool, the hard surface digging painfully into my back. As if suddenly enlightened, he kissed the hollow of my chest, his lips brushed my earlobe, and I clung tightly to his neck, afraid of falling. It's been so long since I've seen my little wife. How passionate you've become. I let out a soft hum as he tore open my undergarments in one swift motion. The sudden exposure of spring's splendor set Ji Xiang aflame with desire. Ji Xiang led me step by seductive step, from the bathing pool to the bedchamber. How could any man remain unmoved when faced with such beauty? My little wife. When emotions ran deep, Ji Xiang lifted me onto him. Little madam, call me husband. I became intimate with Ji Xiang, who would have thought that yesterday I was just a cleaning maid. And today I've risen to become the little madam, and it's Ji Xiang, who has a grudge against me. If he remembers, he'll skin me alive. Dao Yarrow gave me a thumbs up in admiration, as if saying, you're something else. I responded with a helpless expression, habitually standing up to serve Ji Xiang his food. Ji Xiang pulled me to sit on his lap. My little wife worked so hard last night. Today, let your husband take care of you. My face flushed red as I elbowed his chest. There are outsiders here. Ji Xiang affectionately rubbed my hand and declared to the household, anyone who dares speak a single word against my little wife will be thrown out of this estate. Yes. Ji Xian's favor toward me left no room for anyone's doubt. I was originally brought back by Ji Xiang, and everyone in the mansion assumed I was his chambermaid. Only now, I've gained his favor. So no one finds it strange anymore. From then on, the general's mansion had one more beloved young mistress. At the promotion banquet a month later, Qi Yun arrived. Rumors said her marriage had been less than satisfactory. The prime minister's son had scorned her status as a concubine-born daughter and instead married her legitimate elder sister. When she learned Ji Xiang had become the cavalry general, Qi Yun secured connections through the Minister of Personnel. I received an invitation. When I saw Ji Xiang standing with a delicate-looking woman and realized it was me upon closer inspection, his expression instantly crumbled. She rushed forward to strike me but was stopped by Dao Yarrow. You lowly wench, how dare you cling to the general? I was speechless. 3 years had passed, yet Qi Yun remained as haughty as ever. Qi Yun rushed up to Ji Xiang, pointing at me triumphantly as if to claim credit. Ji Xiang, you probably don't know this yet. But this lowly servant by your side is nothing more than the lowest-ranking cleaning maid in the academy. If it weren't for her meddling, the general and I would have been happily married long ago. In the past, she clung to that old dean just to learn how to read and write, exchanging favors for the privilege of auditing classes, and now she's trying to cling to you. Slap. Ji Xiang held me tightly in his arms. How dare you speak ill of my little wife? I quickly grabbed Ji Shiyan's outstretched hand again. This was once the love of your heart. You'll regret it if you remember. If Ji Shiyang knew Qi Yun had come back for him, he'd probably be overjoyed. What, was I so desperate in the past? From now on, I'll only love my little wife. I walked up to Qi Yun and said, I didn't gain my auditor status by currying favor with the academy head, I earned it by cleaning the academy. Ji Shiyang wrapped his arm around my shoulder. My little wife has always acted with integrity. He actually praised me like this, completely different from that skinflint Jew from before. Now he seems more flesh and blood. The etiquette in the minister's residence is truly lacking. Ji Shiyang turned back and said to Minister Qi, I think your daughter needs some discipline. Minister Qi, having lost face, quickly nodded in agreement. Now Ji Shiyang was a great hero in the emperor's eyes. A young and promising general who commanded formidable troops, Qi Yun was taken back home by Minister Qi, who was so angry that he punished her by making her kneel in the ancestral hall for several hours. Are you really that impatient? I had intended to win over Ji Shiyang to serve the second prince. But you, utterly useless and only capable of ruining everything. Kneeling on the ground in distress, Qi Yun tugged at Minister Qi's robe with her small hand. Father. That favored concubine by his side turns out to be the cleaning maid from our academy days. It was her who stole the letters Ji Shiyang sent me, leading to the estrangement between us. I simply couldn't swallow this injustice. Minister Qi looked at his aggrieved daughter and softened, helping her up. Is this true? Qi Yun clung to Minister Qi's arm. I heard Ji Shiyang has lost his memory. I thought I could take advantage of his amnesia to get closer to him. But who would have expected that wretched maid to be in the way? Father, only by getting rid of her can I approach Ji Shiyang. Minister Qi stroked his beard. That makes sense. Then I'll leave this matter to you. Qi Yun smiled as she massaged Minister Qi's shoulders. Father, I've heard that Madame Ji is a woman who loathes evil. If she finds out Ji Shiyang is doting on a maidservant, wouldn't she be furious to death? The next day, Qi Yun bribed a servant from the general's residence. She set off for Jiangnan with the letter in hand. This trip will take at least a month, or up to a month and a half at most. Qi Yun took out some silver and placed it in the servant's hand. Make sure it's delivered as quickly as possible. General's mansion. After the promotion banquet for Ji Shiyang ended, he drunkenly clung to me, refusing to let go. My little wife. I only want my little wife. I wiped his body with a towel in one hand while answering, I'm here. At that moment, I suddenly realized my feelings for Ji Shiyang had changed. Ji Shiyang was strikingly handsome, especially when he stood protectively in front of me. It lingers for a long time. Oh no, I think I've fallen for Ji Shiyang. To be precise, I've fallen for the amnesiac Ji Shiyang. After drinking the hangover soup, Ji Shiyang became much more clear-headed. Holding me on his lap, he asked, did she bully you like this before? I shook my head. Not exactly. Miss Qi simply looks down on me. Ji Shiyang tapped my nose, denying it even when bullied. From now on, I'll protect you. But I'm deceiving you too. I gently touched Ji Shiyang's face with my small hand. Ji Shiyang, if one day you discover I've deceived you. My clothes were abruptly torn open by Ji Shiyang, revealing all his favorite styles inside. Ah, it hurts Tilda. Ji Shiyang bit down on my shoulder. Then I'll chain you to my bed, making merry every night. I looked up and fell into his lust-filled eyes. Sheng Sheng. Feel it, this heart of mine beats only for you. Ji Shiyang pressed my hand against his body. And this too stirs only for you. Blushing crimson, I turned my face away. Alright, I have some good news for Sheng Sheng. Ji Shiyang cupped my face in his hands. The blood clot in my brain seems to have dissipated a bit, and I've regained quite a bit of memory. I asked earnestly. Then do you remember that year at the academy? Ji Shiyang shook his head. Only bits from childhood came back. Seeing my disappointment, Ji Shiyang quickly apologized. I'm sorry, Sheng Sheng. I still haven't remembered our past. I smiled bitterly. Perhaps it's better if he never remembers. What was our past like, Sheng Sheng? I forced a smile and began my usual routine of spinning tales. You used to be a brute, simple-minded and strong-limbed. Didn't I even marry you? I waved my hand dismissively. How would I dare? If this became public knowledge and we were discovered, it wouldn't just mean prison time. It's almost as bad as losing one's head. Then I'll make it up to Sheng Sheng with a wedding banquet in half a month, where she and I can perform the heaven and earth ceremony, making everything proper and legitimate. I reveled in the fleeting joy with Ji Shiyang. Okay, Ji Shiyang always seemed to have boundless energy. And each time he would grip my hand tightly, calling my name over and over in my ear. This is the sweetest love confession I've ever heard. When Dao Yaro brought in breakfast, she praised me. Sheng Sheng, you're amazing. I always knew you were extraordinary from the start. The way the general looks at you is completely different from how he looks at us. He still won't let you do heavy work, truly pampering you exceptionally well." I shook my head, pulling Tao Yao's sleeve as I said. "But he used to frequently withhold my monthly allowance and hid my indenture contract away. To this day, I've never had the chance to retrieve and destroy it. Fortunately, Ji Xiang has never opened it either. What if Ji Xiang finds out I've deceived him? What would happen to me?" Dao Yarrow pondered seriously before answering. "You might face the general's punishment, but I truly believe he loves you deeply. The way one looks at their beloved can't lie. I've been searching for the right moment to tell Ji Xiang the truth. He's been bustling about preparing for our wedding banquet. I can't let my Sheng Sheng handle all these tedious preparations." In the evening, Ji Xiang lay exhausted on the couch. "Ji Xiang, get up and take a bath before sleeping." By the time I finished heating the water, Ji Xiang was already fast asleep. These days, he's been busy finalizing wedding attire and hosting banquets for guests. Yet it allowed me to stay home waiting for him with a clear conscience. "Ji Xiang, I'm sorry, I love you." I had planned to confess everything to him after the wedding banquet, yet no one expected that just days before the wedding, Lady Ji would arrive in haste from the south of the Yangtze River. Qi Yun helped Lady Ji take the main seat in the hall, while I knelt on the floor. How could the wedding ceremony proceed without the mistress of the house? Truly despicable. "My son is now utterly bewitched by a lowly wretch like you. You think you're the mistress of the general's manor just because I'm not here." Qi Yun stood by, massaging Lady Ji's shoulders. "Lady Ji, it's this wretched maid. She's been clinging to the general every single day these past few months. Who knows? She might be trying to take advantage of the general's amnesia to climb her way up and embezzle the general's fortune." Madam Ji, fuming with provoked anger, shot a meaningful glance at the matron beside her, beat her mercilessly. Two matrons seized my hands, preventing me from moving. "Aren't you afraid Ji Xiang will hold you accountable when he returns?" Madam Ji, every moment delayed is a moment gained. When Ji Xiang returns, I might be spared the physical punishment. Would he really choose a lowly maid over his own mistress? The matron's calloused hand came down upon my fair skin. Bright red handprints instantly appeared on my skin. I was beaten nearly unconscious before two matrons dragged me out again. They threw me into the pond. I choked on several mouthfuls of water, flailing desperately in the pond. Peach Blossom wanted to save me from the shore but was stopped by the guards. In the end, one was no match for many. Qi Yun didn't spare me either. She released several snakes into the water, sending them swimming toward me. I swam desperately, yet still got bitten on the ankle, exhausted in the water. The two matrons wouldn't let me climb ashore. Before losing consciousness, I seemed to hear Ji Xian's voice. "Sheng Sheng." Ji Xiang jumped into the pond and caught me as I was about to faint. After pulling me ashore, Ji Xian's anger reached its peak. He carried me to a chair, took a pill from the brocade box to feed me, and then gently applied ointment, completely ignoring the people in the hall. "Sheng Sheng, does it hurt? I'm sorry I'm late. Drag these two matrons away and give them 100 lashes. Vengeance for my little wife." He lifted my pant leg, revealing 4 red dots on my ankle. Ji Xian's voice was full of concern. "A snake bite." I nodded, and without hesitation, Ji Xiang lowered his head. A tingling sensation spread through my ankle. Ji Xiang was sucking out the snake venom for me. I faintly sensed that Ji Xiang was angry. He was restraining himself with great effort in front of me. After all these years, has Madam Ji still not recognized her position? With those words, a teacup was smashed before Madam Ji. Qi Yun and Lady Ji exchanged bewildered glances. Naturally, Qi Yun didn't understand Ji Xian's meaning and eagerly stepped forward to grasp his arm. "General Ji, you've lost your memory. This wretched maid seized the opportunity to climb up by clinging to you. Lady Ji was merely eliminating this scourge for your sake." Ji Xiang shoved Qi Yun aside. "Was it you who released the snakes?" Qi Yun looked somewhat guilty. "They were just harmless water snakes." Ji Xiang ground his teeth. "How wonderful." Madam Ji looked at Ji Xiang. "Yanga, I am your mother. How dare you speak to me like this? Do you really intend to ruin such a good marriage alliance with the minister's household for the sake of a lowly servant girl? Do you not care about your future? I'm only doing this for your own good." Madam Ji spoke earnestly, her expression full of disappointment and frustration. "They might as well have executed me on the spot. Auntie, have you stayed in Jiangnan for so long that you've forgotten what I said 3 years ago?" I raised my eyes to look at Ji Xiang, who was carefully applying medicine to my face. 3 years ago, he remembered everything. Doesn't that mean I'm finished? Madam Ji's thoughts drifted back 3 years. Back then, she had also disciplined this maidservant. merely making her kneel for 3 hours as punishment. Yet when Ji Xiang returned, he actually wanted to banish her back to their old residence in Jiangnan. You should know, all these years she's been trying to secure a future for her youngest son. After great difficulty, Ji Xiang had gained some fame, and she could use his name to cozy up to the high-ranking officials in the capital. But because of this wretched maid, Ji Xiang sent her back to Jiangnan. He even said he'd never let her return to the general's residence again. A few days ago, Qi Yun sent her a message saying that Ji Xiang had lost his memory. Wasn't this the perfect opportunity to return to the capital? She had planned to take advantage of Ji Xian's amnesia to seize real power in the general's household. She would take all the wealth to pave the way for her son. But who would have thought that Ji Xiang remembered everything? I regained my memory 3 days ago. Ji Xiang stood up and looked down at everyone with disdain. If you had obediently returned to Jiangnan to serve grandmother, I would have ensured your son's safety. But now, you've joined forces with outsiders to humiliate my wife. Don't expect me to show mercy to your son. Madame Ji trembled as she slid from her seat, her legs shaking uncontrollably. While Qi Yun looked on in confusion, Ji Xiang then fixed his gaze on her. You haven't even figured out how to choose your master properly, yet you dare cause trouble in the general's manor. Who gave you the audacity? Your father, a mere minister, dares interfere with my general's manor. Do you have a death wish? Qi Yun collapsed to the ground in terror. She had never imagined Ji Xiang could be so terrifying. After all, just 3 years ago, Ji Xiang had been her suitor, nor had she realized that Madame Ji wasn't Ji Xian's birth mother, but merely a concubine. I won't let this matter rest. Since you've dared to bully my wife like this, I will surely make you pay the price. Miss Qi, don't think I don't know. Back then, you looked down on me as a rough man unworthy of you, the most talented lady in the capital. So why are you willing to approach me now? Qi Yun froze. Ji Xiang actually knew about what had happened back then. Then isn't she just asking for humiliation? She had made a military pledge before her father, vowing to conquer Ji Xiang today without fail. Ji Xiang, aren't you afraid everyone will scorn this lowly maid? The dignified general's wife turns out to be a lowly servant girl. Aren't you afraid people will laugh at you if this gets out? You and I are truly a match made in heaven. Ji Xiang caressed my swollen cheek. I don't care about her status or background. Qi Yun stood up, pointing at me. And what about her? How will others humiliate her? Don't you care about that either? Seeing Ji Xiang remain silent, she tugged at his collar. I don't mind if you take her as a concubine. I can even legitimize her position. I looked at Qi Yun with a bitter smile. She truly resembled a stray dog now. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I suddenly spoke up. Miss Qi, wasn't it you who humiliated me from start to finish? Shut up. How dare a lowly servant like you speak to me? Even if you rise from slave status, at best you'll be a concubine. What are you so proud of? Qi Yun had completely abandoned the refined manners of a cultured lady, throwing a tantrum before everyone. It was you who personally threw away the gifts Ji Xiang sent, and it was I who replied to his letters. I deceived him, and I will voluntarily leave this household. You'll pay for your wickedness, won't you? Qi Yun turned around. A lowly maid like you has no right to meddle in my affairs. When Ji Xiang heard I was leaving the estate, he grabbed me in panic. Sheng. Don't leave me. I never blamed you. You were never a slave. What I tricked you into signing were the deeds to my private properties. From the very beginning, it was me who deceived you. Ji Xiang held me tightly. Sheng. When I found out that all the letters that month were written by you, I struggled for 3 days and 3 nights. From the moment we met again, I knew you were destined to be my wife. Ji Xiang, ever since regaining my memory, seeing you so sweet and adorable, I couldn't bear to make you worry. If they hadn't come to stir up trouble, I would have been willing to stay amnesiac forever, just to keep my Sheng carefree. Ji Xian's heartfelt words moved me beyond measure. Qi Yun clutched her head in disbelief. This can't be. How could a dignified general fall in love with a lowly maid? Ji Xiang was furious about my injury. He retaliated by throwing both Qi Yun and Lady Ji into the pond. He released many harmless water snakes into it. In less than a moment, the pond was filled with screams. Qi Yun, sobbing, tried to climb ashore but was pushed back in. General Ji, I was wrong. I'll apologize to the young madam. Madam Ji struggled helplessly, nearly drowning in the process. I felt somewhat irritated, so I took Ji Xian's hand and said, that's enough. Only then did the matter come to an end. Madam Ji was still sent back to Jiangnan, but this time, her son went with her. Before leaving, she knelt on the ground and begged Ji Xiang, I know I was wrong. Please let Shu stay. Only in the capital can he achieve fame and success. Out of pity for the innocent child, Ji Xiang ultimately softened his heart. Qi Yun was carried back to the minister's residence. While her deeds at the general's mansion spread throughout the capital, the minister's office was also impeached for embezzling disaster relief funds during the search of the residence. Correspondence with the second prince was discovered, the Shongshu mansion was raided and its members exiled to the borderlands. This also implicated the second prince, forever barring him from the throne. The wedding banquet was postponed until I made a full recovery. On the wedding day, Ji Xiang invited the academy head to officiate our ceremony. The dean handed me over to Ji Xiang with relief, saying, "Guisheng is a good child, I hope the general will treat her well." Ji Xiang lifted my bridal veil and gazed at my stunning beauty, his eyes brimming with joy. He drank the ceremonial wedding wine with me. In this life, I and Shengsheng are bound as husband and wife, loving and trusting each other without doubt. The crimson wedding gown was slipped off by Ji Xiang as the red candles flickered and the scarlet bed curtains billowed. On the third day of our marriage, Ji Xiang exchanged the tiger tally to secure me the title of a commandery princess. He appeared utterly indifferent, remarking, "With the nation now prosperous and the people at peace, wielding military power is hardly advantageous. The emperor has long been wary. Trading that tally to make Shengsheng a princess was well worth it." On his birthday, Song Yi said eagerly, "During the bandit suppression, Yang fell into a trap to save me and was severely injured. Before losing consciousness, he kept insisting on rushing back to hold your coming-of-age ceremony. But the military doctors spent 3 days saving him, and when he finally woke up 3 months later, he had lost his memory. The only thing he remembered was not wanting to worry someone. So he still remembered my coming-of-age ceremony, he just lost his memory." Shengsheng, "Don't listen to his nonsense, it wasn't that tragic." He kicked Song Yi in the small of his back. "It's all your fault. You made my wife cry." Song Yi ran far away, clutching his waist. "Why didn't you tell me anything?" Ji Xiang lowered his head to meet my gaze. "I always intended to keep you at the general's residence and propose to you after your coming-of-age ceremony. All these years, I've been terrified you might run away. I didn't even dare give you too much silver." My eyes reddened as I pinched Ji Xiang's ear. "So you were playing me all along." Ji Xiang pulled me into his embrace and said contentedly, "Shengsheng is my bright moon." 16. After our marriage, Ji Xiang helped me rediscover my dream of studying. I took over the academy, becoming its first female dean in history. With the emperor's gracious permission, I established a school for women and founded a charity fund, so that underprivileged students across the land could also learn to read and write. As soon as the academy opened, scholars and talented individuals came flocking in droves. Everyone praises me as a benevolent princess who cares for the people. Every day, I returned to the manor late after working tirelessly. Ji Xiang held me and whined, "Does my wife no longer want her husband?" I kissed him and said, "My love, I'm exhausted." Ji Xiang immediately carried me to the bathtub and began massaging my back and legs. He was truly an excellent helpmate. Later, when I opened the pouch to look, there was indeed a note inside, but it wasn't a contract of servitude, rather, it was a wish charm, with these words written on the back: "May I and Shengsheng grow old together, hand in hand." The end.